Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. Hope everyone is doing well this AM. Happy Thursday to you all. Tabitha here. We're on to get the what's going on in the sky message out to see what we have to expect that we will encounter on today. So, yeah, y'all, as of late, there are lots of pauses. Again, my communication frequency is off, and just something that I'm having to work through. And so if you all are willing to still commit to the channel and stick around to see what the message will be through the pauses, then I appreciate it. All right, just expect to get something somewhere in the message. All right, thanks you guys. So yeah, I am an oracle, a channel, and intuitive. I read tarot cards. I'm a blogger, a crafter, and yeah. All right, so let's see what we have going on in the sky. Let's just put our focus on and see what's going on the World Wide Web. Today is August 6th, 2026. Saturn, Mars, Mercury, and Venus are active in the sky or shifting positions, building up to a major six planet alignment next week. This is from Earth Sky. Um, Visible morning and night planets. Okay, so Saturn shines brightly in the southern southeastern morning sky and is well placed for viewing after midnight. Mars climbs steadily in the eastern. Okay. Mars climbs steadily in the eastern morning sky near Taurus and Orion. Mercury hugs the lower eastern horizon during morning twilight. Venus shifts into Libra today and prepares for its prominent evening appearance in the western. Oh, they got me today because that what they're giving really is very surface level. Let me see something. That's what I get though. Yeah, that's what I get. I just relax, y'all. We gonna find what we need. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, this is my fault. Forgive me, guys. Um, okay. Yeah, that was my bad. That was my bad. All right, y'all. So now my phone wants to ring. Okay, here we go, y'all. So on August 6th, 2026, the key astrological movements affecting the sky include Venus entering Libra, which softens relationship dynamics, and a supportive Sun in Leo trine Saturn in Aries, which blends personal confidence with structured discipline. All right, here we go. So, Venus in Libra. Venus moves into the sign it rules, shifting focus toward romance, diplomacy, harmony, and fair compromise in personal connections. Oh, how sweet. That's coming from Yahoo. Sun in Leo trine Saturn in Aries. This fire sign alignment unites radiant self expression with practical follow through, making it an ideal day to plan long term goals and step into grounded leadership. Active retrogrades. Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron remain in retrograde motion, quietly slowing down the collective pace and encouraging behind the scenes reflection rather than rushed action. What to expect? Relationships. You may feel a stronger urge to resolve conflicts peacefully, appreciate art or beauty, and seek balance over arguments. I like that. Ambition. Confidence feels earned rather than boastful, helping you commit to consistent effort on personal projects. All right, that's pretty groovy, right? All right, you guys. So that all of that is coming from Yahoo. There weren't a lot of different pros. I don't prospects isn't the word, but yeah, it was just one person that was sharing the information from the World Wide Web today. I had to be clear on that because again, I don't want to be putting stuff out there and getting caught up. So let us channel a bit and see what the guides have to say, what our higher selves would like to offer up to us. I'm hearing sunny and shadowy side. Again, that verbose, argumentative energy. Something will be removed twice, is what it sounds like they're saying. Something about your guardianship, something being influential, um, working on your responsibilities and your responsors. Things are being grafted, cleaned up. Um, you're going to be making, or you should be making, proper investments. This has to do a lot with your learning and your teaching. So whatever you're feeling led to pick up, maybe from the past, or oh, I'm hearing dirty laundry now, but let me try to finish what I was saying. Keep me in alignment, Most High. Whatever you may have been planning to do in the past and you dropped it, now is the season for you to go back and pick it up so you can revise it because there may be something there for you. Um, allow your radiance to shine. Something about jumping through hoops. These are remedial courses that you may be dancing through right now. Sponsorships may be coming through. You're learning healthier appetites and habits. Um, working through the conclusions. Um, diametric figures are is the words that are being tossed out. Something about gloomy days, but the sun will come out. This has been a repetitious cycle, or this may continue to be a repetitious cycle. Stop gloating, or maybe you have been gloating. So maybe this is a season where maybe you should reconstruct that and change your voice again and your habits. And going back to hindsight, that way you will be able to, that's that reflection, or reflective moments. This will guide you back to a higher alliance, allegiance of yourself and those who are around you. Phew, phew, phew. Um, hmm, hmm. Let's see. Let me see something again about so whatever the infiltration has been in your programming of the past, as you begin to drink more water or release through your emotions, then again, as they've been sharing with us, your filtration system will begin to change and your habits will begin to change and you yourself will become more humble within yourself. And in this way, your rulership within yourself will help you to become more. They just keep giving me the word gladder. And we know for the most part, I didn't grow up with that being a word. However, life shifts, so it may be a word now. But happier. Again, this is a repetitive cycle. They're mentioning unions in this season. So go check out the short that I posted this AM because it is speaking on relationships and the masculine and feminine reformations of themselves and wanting to actually step up to the plate for one another. But there's so much work that we need to do within ourselves at the end of the day. So because we are still cleaning up our habits on the inside, um, or as we should be cleaning up our habits on the inside, this will assist us in the long run to come into togetherness with our person, whomever that person may be. But you are responsible, they're saying, for your responsors, and you should be becoming more responsible. Yeah. Okay. Communication is key, though. They're saying think, write, or references, and they're mentioning jumping to conclusions, courage, and visionary. Um, Something is being uprooted. Yeah, something is being uprooted. 23, there's that freedom that we left off with in a couple of the readings from last night. Go check out the astrological readings for the zodiac signs. So there was freedom, and so there is still freedom. I'm hearing something about marrying and togetherness, but 23 is 5 again, which is freedom. So collectively, they're saying you're getting over the stormy weather. So I'm looking at, though this looks pretty peaceful in her background, they're showing it to me as summarizing. They're saying what has been going on in the past. So whatever has been going on in the past has been rough. The pains in the past have been rough. So now you will have the courage to perceive these things visionary in a different way. So because we see, though it is in the picture, it is peaceful, there's balance, she's neutral, she's coming back to herself. Her eyes even look dreamy. That's the vision. Remember, in a couple of the other messages, we were in those cloudy days. Basically, we received the daydream card. So she even looks to be daydreaming here, but her vision is clear as she is releasing those cloudy days. Sunny days, new edition. Everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? That part. Storms will come. Hey, this we know for sure. This we know for sure. Can you stand the rain? That. Hmm. So I'm hearing a memory lapse, and again jumping to conclusion. So that contrite energy, giving thanks for it. Yeah, people know how to clean themselves up if they want to at the end of the day. So, and but I'm hearing summarizing through the vocal cords. This is about compromisation, and that's where I was going with that. You've been tripping. You've been wrong. You have done some things to mistreat a someone or someone's, and it took you forever to own up to that. And you know that. However, now that things are shifting into something else and you realize that there's no building there now and your resources may be empty in certain areas. Now, this doesn't even have to necessarily be financial. This is just what's going on inside of you. Now you realize, I know I was wrong, but is it factual in the honoring of who you are? Or is this just you coming in? They're showing someone rubbing their hands together, you know, again to infiltrate. So, so with that, it's like we all have to be mindful in honoring ourselves and breathing through these exercises. Should someone show up again and you know that you're very passionate about that person, this is about you regrouping through that and being courageous enough within yourself to see it for what it actually is. These messages sure can shift and be all over the place, but they still come back and cohesively bind themselves back together. I love that. Yeah, but I keep hearing memory lapse and a loss of control. Coming back from the dying's land. From the dying's land. from the lion's den. Okay. So you're grappling with some things and you're no longer denying yourself because you have become courageous enough to view things in a different light. Out the gate, they were saying, okay, for me, I see it for what it is. I can see it for what it is, which is she's at peace basically. Everything is chill. She's relaxed, you know? But they were showing it to me as crashing waves and chaos, stormy days, stormy weather. So you have to change. This is a shift as well, I'm hearing, in mode and modality. Okay? Yeah. I'm hearing Johnny Gill's rub me the right way, rub you the right way. Rub you the right way. When you feel, yeah, the magic in the hands. Yeah. So even though the words are rough, someone came in and rubbed you the wrong way. I mean, well, wow, look at how I see. That's the perception of where I was even going with it. So because Johnny is so gritty and hardcore and strong with his throat chakra as he sings, it's hard, it's rough. So I was receiving it as someone rubbing you the wrong way. But the song is, or rubbing me the wrong way. But the song is rubbing you the right way. So that stroke from that person, look at here, actually was, again, your vision. Initially, maybe your perception of it was, oh, this is so great. This is so beautiful. This is absolutely something that I would desire and love to have. But once it was all said and done, the reality was that there was some tricky energy in there. So your conclusion wound up being what it was, the truth, what it is. Doja Cat, you know, is what it is. You see the truth for what it is. And so now you can regulate your heart because you're no longer desiring pomp and circumstance. I don't care. There again, Johnny Gill, pump, 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 pump up the bass. Is that the base? That's your root chakra. And after we leave that root chakra, we're coming into that sacral. That's all of that smecks, passion, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm hearing servile, and I'm hearing something about mandatory. Also, we need to be mindful, they're saying, of how we communicate. Again, our words, and again, perception. So this is what the message is about. Again, it's still communication, but this is how we are perceiving something due to the communication. I'm hearing regulating history and allowing the stars to come in, shining high and bright. Let's see what our finances. Complete the mission. I'm hearing ask for more money. So maybe in your job, you guys, whoever, you know, your boss is, maybe they've been shaming you, I'm hearing, in some way, and it's caught you off guard. And there are lots of strict rules in certain areas. They keep saying diametric diameters and parameters. So maybe too, this is about working on your boundaries as well, so that the gifts will come in and you will gain a brighter future. But what I was about to say is maybe your boss has been robbing you and not giving you the advance at work. Maybe you know that you are owed a raise and they're just totally ignoring you and putting you all the way back to scratch from the message the other day. Like Martin, like you got to go to scratch for whatever reason. And you know that you got more. You know that you're shown up as a high earner, a high learner. But I keep hearing something about wordplay. I'm hearing the magician. But I keep hearing proper English. I keep hearing the word proper English. And maybe someone wants you to make mistakes, or maybe you have made mistakes, or maybe you're not using proper grammar. So the word scratch is showing me back up with go start back at scratch. So the markings, this is marking you up, and things are irreversible due to your conduct level. But mandatory English is needed. Mandatory English. That's interesting. Because when they just gave me the words mandatory English, they showed me other systems, classes, um, countries. Even that is what they showed me. There was a span of that in my frequency. Um, hmm. And I'm hearing rejection. So and I'm hearing the word corroborate due to the masculine system, which is causing a villainizing error of unhealthy trusts. So again, what I'm receiving though, if if this is about mandatory English, and we have people from other countries. I keep hearing the word cult. We have people from other countries that are online doing messages and sharing their journeys and their stories and such and thus. They just showed me auto dub. Okay, because that's literally where I was going with that. If you have all these other countries and such and thus on the World Wide Web as well, then how can the English be mandatory? But because there is auto dub. So also what they're saying is things should be about professionalism. So again, we know YouTube is a whole business now. It started out as fun and showing up your crafts and your gifts and sharing stories, and just being able to touch people across um, the earth in a whole different way, which was beautiful in that season. But because it has become a whole business market now, okay, they're saying there's bounty in it, which I agree with. Um, so they expect more, is what they're saying. They expect more. And you just have to be mindful if you want sponsorship. Again, so I pretty much feel that is coming at me as well. Um, I I can only be me though. I can only show up as me. I don't really know what else. I'm not compromising myself, you know, for unhealthy antics. I was just watching a short of Dougie Doug, the comedian from back in the days, where basically that's what he was saying. And remember, I shared the message on yesterday about Rasan Patterson. Like, again, I know that I am an underdog, like, seriously. And I'm okay with that. And I guess that is what will kind of keep me, low financially, um, in certain areas, or it will restrict me, in certain areas. But I want to keep my peace. I don't want to compromise myself. Because I did that. And so it's that part in compromising myself, as I've shared. In compromising myself, I still wound up broke and broker and broke in. So here I am now, still more unhealthy. So what do you do at the end of the day? So yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just not. So again, when it's time, it will happen again. I kind of feel because I am in more of a season of isolation right now. Um, I'm used to being busy. I'm used to doing something. I'm used to being out and about, but because my health is being compromised in this season, I really don't have um, anything to go to allow me to be to I'm by myself. Yeah. In the past, as I was sharing in another read, where I did the 15-year stint and I was on my spiritual journey and I was learning the YouTube and became very confident in the YouTube, and my YouTube channel grew and grew and grew. And so it was that was a beautiful season for me in YouTube and my spiritual journey. There were people around me. Um, the YouTube family was there. I had everybody around me. So I was receiving those so-called flowers in that season until I wasn't. So then the shift came. And so now here is the shift again. And now there's no one around. Like literally, I only have a couple. Literally one hand, and not even the full hand. So no, you're this isolation is a totally different type of isolation. And so it's just kind of hard to inspire yourself to show up in a certain way. And so I guess where I was going as well. Now I'm looking at the numbers and focusing on the numbers more. That when my YouTube was abundant, I didn't even realize I had the numbers that I had until one day I mistakenly hit something and I saw how many people I had connecting with me and comments flooding all through. I was like, what? So I wasn't looking then because I had something to do. I was entertaining and just going with the flow, and I'm saying entertaining myself in a healthy way. And my health wasn't so compromised then. But that is what started my spiritual journey, though, was my health was very, it was a minimal compromisation, but it was, it was discomfort, and it was something to let me realize you can do this on your own without having to use the hospital system in such a way unless you really needed to. So, yeah. So I don't know where all of that just came from, but that's a message for somebody. And I know even myself as I go back and listen to it. Um, yeah. So okay, well we have find an oracle with the financial 44 is 8, alchemizing, reconstruction, you know, strategy. But this is about seeking services, not necessarily psychic services. Again, this is about therapy again, you know. So I'm getting the message because this has been a couple of times where the message is seek therapy. Every time I hear it now, I think about the therapy that on Sex and the City when they did the movie, and Carrie went through the circumstance with she and Big, and they went to the other country and such and thus, and they were like, "Here's your therapy," which was alcohol. And I'm hearing Beyonce now, something, something, alcohol, da, 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 alcohol, or something. If that may not even be the same song, but that's the beat that they're giving me. I know she has two songs. I'm thinking about Drunk in Love, but then she has a song where she's you go into that beat that I'm talking about, 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, yeah. So yeah, that drunk in love energy though. But it's like they're pounding alcohol into you. Wine, 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 wine. Wine is alcohol. I'm hearing deliver me. And I'm hearing this is a cult practice. And so this is a new journey through the rumor mill that you are going. through. And I'm hearing the word crown. You're crowning your inheritance. You're becoming more fulfilling and more tranquil. So maybe as well, if we go to the psychic services, okay, it's still that with the psychics, you know, the tellers, the storytellers, um, the intuitives, the background noise or history or references, okay, so noise is the confidence level of who you are in the storyline. Your tax bracket, this is financial. So your tax bracket within yourself, due to the rumors and lies. Um, are you a pillar of authority in certain congregations, or will your keys continue to be confiscated? So this is about you having as you are in higher learning, you will begin to have higher earnings. But there's so much disloyalty that you have gone through in the past, maybe, that it has taken you down and gotten you caught out there. This is big boy energy I'm hearing, and I keep hearing the word bishop, um, cooperation, corporation. So that's still back to what I was just saying, like with Rasan and Dougie Doug and even myself is the underdog. So like, wow, they just showed me something else as well. So I'm hearing business revenue. So because the channels of the intuitives, those of us who are psychics, oracles, intuitives, mediums, we were we were fed to the wolves centuries ago. They would kill you if you were intuitive. They would stone you. Again, they would rock you. A lot of them did not make it. But so there is something, this shift I'm hearing of they're giving the word fortune teller. They're saying it's being brought back, and it is fortunate. Fortunate to have you, girl. Maxwell. So it's fortunate this time. The fortune tellers, the intuitives. I'm hearing even miracle workers. Um, why aren't they mentioning pajama pants? They're saying pajama pants. Dang, y'all be doing too much. Let's slow down. So, so basically, intuitives, mediums, and such and thugs were burned to the state centuries and decades ago. So now we're all over social media. The World Wide Web is where we stand. You only had one or two that were televised back in the day. And at the end of the day, their careers wound up ending, other than probably in the background. Because your gift is your gift. And when you realize that your gift is your gift, you can only honor your gift. And that's my story. I pulled back, but I had to come back because the Most High was not letting up. So it's that part. But now, so many of us are tapped in such a way. So it seems that because the virus continued to attract and attract and attract, at first I was getting ready to say attack, which, okay, fine. However, it was attracting through the attacking, but it wasn't necessarily a a poor attack. It was prosperous because it was gifting you with clarity and answers and vision. Type of the message. So I guess those who are in control realize we cannot subdue a certain energy, and this is one of them. which is intuition, because it comes from spirit. So even though those that govern in the physical will continue to do what they do, because honestly, they have a job to do. They do. They govern the land due to what the Most High has told them to do. This is the system that those who govern, they have a job. So, and I understand that, but I mind my business in that as well, because that's not my business to tend to. So, because I choose to be free, I'm working through that aspect of my journey. But I know that they are needed. But the thing about it is, will they honor it in fairness? And most of them do not. So, but that's a whole other story as well. Things are seasonal. Certain systems are to be put in place through certain seasons. They're supposed to look a certain way, be a certain way. And so that is where that has to show up, and it just is what it is. But to the point, they could not subdue intuition. So since they could not subdue intuition nor spirituality, they inserted it into the World Wide Web. So the fortune is there. However, I'm hearing background noise and sound bites and such, and thus there's that arrogant energy that is coming in to take over the domination of, or being dominant of, spirituality and intuition. They're still buying it. So, and you do, and it does come with trust. However, they're turning it into a burden because everyone needs to eat. So if this is my gift, I'm sharing my gift. I still have to eat. So I am still due and earning. I'm still due and earning. But you're blocking it because you want me to show up in a certain frequency. So look at it this way as well. Back to Dougie Doug and Rasan again. Dougie Doug's gift is in comedy. Rasan's gift is in singing. Rasan is so tapped in spiritually. That's why I absolutely love him. Like he knows the spiritual realm. You can see it in his word and how he speaks and communicates when he's talking. He is definitely connected in this way for those who connect to this platform. So when you receive the Most High in that way, that's the gift of the goddess in you. But back to the point, your gift is your gift. Dougie Doug, I'll get it go somewhere else. I'm sorry, y'all. Dougie Doug's gift is in comedy. Rasan's is in singing. Mine is, I have a wide spectrum of my gifts, but they're all crafting formats, or ambidextrous is the word, honestly. You know, I can craft with my mind, I can craft with my heart, I can craft with my hands. I can just simply show up and insert myself, and here I am. So my gift is just all across the board. This is not about numbers. That masculine frequency is not about numbers. It's not about mathing. It's not about tolling. It's not about stocks. It's not about digitizing, calculating. My numbers are inside of me, but they are not to be dictated. Wow, this is so big and heavy. They aren't to be dictated. So there's a high contrast of the masculine and feminine formulas, which is again back to that men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But we have to learn to allow them to coagulate and gel. Angel, Regina, is that Regina? No, it's not. Um, that's, but anyway, yeah, Angel, that song. But anyway, yeah, and gel, they're supposed to coagulate in togetherness. The masculine and feminine are supposed to be able to work together, but the masculine, for whatever reason, chooses to, um, again, dictate the formula and reform the feminine frequency. So, control Janet Jackson. You'll never get anywhere. There will always be a dance, unfortunately, of pump and circumstance. Pump pump, pump. Yeah, that Robert Johnny Gill is not the one I was hearing that time. That was from, I think, a rap song, but or somebody else. But anyway, yeah, we just again back to the short that I posted this morning. Like that message is it's only like a minute and a half or 2 minutes long, but it is so clear in the message, which is saying that the masculine and feminine get over the broken heart, get over those dirty hands that you have compromised even within yourself. So the relationships they were filthy, they got dirty. They came with broken promises and unhealthy acts. And so that's why we cannot stand one another now, which and that's in the physical. And so in the physical, if I can't stand you over time, that starts to set into my heart and you get that blemish on your heart, that black blemish on your heart. And so now my internal is sick. So my heart is no longer light as a feather. So I can't even stand the vision of you. I don't even like how you look. I don't even want you around me. Yet I do want you around me. Because why? Because I actually love you. I love you so much. I love your smell. I love how you feel. Everything about you is yummy. But get out of my face. Get the phone out of my face. Get the phone out of my face. I know y'all saying she be tripping. What is she on? However, it's what's coming up. So you can adore someone yet hate them at the same time due to the broken promises, you know? So certain practices, back to the underdog. I'm hearing let sleeping dogs lie. Things that you could not trust in the past, masculine and feminine. Get over the rumor mill. Whatever the background noise is, yes, a lot of it does come from your friends, your family, people who are watching and don't even know you and your relationship at all, but you're out with that with your person and you start to show up a certain way because it seems that your person is doing something off-putting. I was watching a movie the other day and it was this couple who were um, how I am now, they raised their kids. The last daughter, as the movie was beginning, the last daughter was going off to school. It was more comedy as well. I just try to watch comedic stuff. I like lighthearted stuff anyway, but so it was comedic, but there was truth in it. So the daughter was going off to school, and the mom and dad they were now in their. It was an old movie as well, not black and white, but it was an old movie. And so back in those days, like back in the 80s and stuff, people were still looking more aged than someone in their 40s does now. So they were in their 40s, but they looked to be closer to 60. Or, yeah, they looked to be closer to 60. An unhealthy 60, let me say that. Because 60 can look damn good in this season. So, um, so I get it on side. But at any rate, so they daughter is going off to school. Now they are ready to center themselves and realizing, okay, the last child is gone off to school. We have our free time now. All we have is work and one another. So they're ready to shift and become cleaner within themselves, start looking better because they did look very old, tired, all of that. Um, so they start off nice and simple, nice and easy. They're starting off on raw foods, eating healthier, cleaner eating, and all of that. Then other people start getting in their ears at work, their work buddies actually. Um, the guy, his homeboy, telling him, "Okay, man, you need to go dye your hair. You need to get a haircut. You need to get a facial. You need to start doing all of this. Change up your wardrobe." And so he starts to do that, and the wife is looking at him. They had been going to the gym. The wife was seeing how the young lady at the gym was all over her husband, putting her butt all in his face and such and thus. And so she went out and bought a big $1,200 machine. We won't be going back there. I'm getting a hold of this one quick. So that's what she did with that. Kudos to her, seriously. Even though at the end, he did say something, which I was already saying that through the movie anyway. But however, you have to get to this part. But at any rate, so she cut that. Okay, fine. Then one of her friends gets in her ear. She changes her up, her appearance, and then because she has gone and gotten all types of surgery. Made me think about when the PP loans were in, and everybody was getting butt injections and such and thus. And so, they both were changing. They both wound up getting some type of surgery. He got something done to his face. She got other things done to her face, and I think she even got a boob job, I believe. But so then they show them out running, and they start from the feet and going up, and you're expecting what you end up seeing, which is basically this so-called beautiful couple in their 40s, and they look good, but other things start to infiltrate their system, and they begin to dislike one another, not realizing their vision, their perception. They were seeing what they were seeing in each other was totally wrong. She started to think, because he did have his wandering eye was off the chain. His wandering eye was off the chain. And he did it in front of her, like all the time. Every time they were out, he's looking at someone else. And she never really said anything, as we as women do, those of us who choose to keep our peace. But we're getting sicker on the inside, is that part as well. So she's keeping her so-called peace, the peace of the relationship, but she's breaking into pieces inside. So yeah, he had a wandering eye though. So because of that wandering eye, and because he had not only a male best friend at work, he also had a female best friend at work. She kept hearing him talk about her, so it made her think that the female actually was an infiltration of the system and gonna bring things down in their home. They decide to go out and, after the surgery and such and thus, and she kind of starts feeling herself, but not in a way to where she was trying to attract anyone. They went out dancing. He went to the restroom. He came back. Some guy had asked her to dance. I did say, well, she did kind of invite that poison in. It didn't spill over too bad, but it was enough to see how they were starting to perceive one another. So, like, he asked her after he went and got her, because he went out there and started dancing with someone else as well, but it started irking his nerves. So he was like, honey, give me your arm and let's get the H and let's get up out of here because you're doing too much. So he was like, well, why would you go dance with him? She said, because he asked. He said, yeah, but you couldn't tell him my husband is here, basically. So, she was like, well, yeah, I could have. So that was that. But it's that kind of poison. Then the daughter came home from school and her little boyfriend started flirting with the wife and just all kinds of nonsensical stuff, but outside infiltrations affecting the system at home. And then the daughter became jealous of the mom to some degree until she wasn't. She actually was just more looking at her parents because she was off to college. She didn't see them after the surgery. That was her first time seeing them. And so, in seeing them after she came back home from school, it was just something big. It was overwhelming. But so she kind of tried to downplay her mom and both her parents at the end of the day and make them look small to the guy. But the guy was up to no good at the end of the day. So she had to send him on about his business. At the end of the day, the husband winds up in this really bad accident. It affected his facial features to some degree, but they were repaired after it was all said and done, so all was well. But as he and the wife were having a conversation about all of the things that they had gone through on this journey, realizing that they absolutely adore one another at the end of the day. But they realized that they were no longer happy in the shift that they had. And that was what the daughter had told them. Like, y'all started doing too much. It was okay at first, but y'all just started doing too much. So, they realized that part and they had that conversation. And so, even after, now mind you, he already had a surgery on his face then. The accident wound up giving him an opportunity to have another facial transplant or transformation. He was like, yeah, basically, y'all get out my face. I'm good with me. But so the conversation was that he had to tell his wife. She was saying, but you act like I'm not good enough. Even after the surgery, you still looking at everyone else. And he was like, yeah, but I'm gonna look. you're still beautiful to me. She was like, but why you look at other people? He said, cause I just look at other women. Other women are beautiful. And that's what I was saying, through the movie as well. I'm like, well, you're not the only beautiful one. And even especially when you're not attractive, he's definitely gonna look. But that doesn't mean he doesn't still love you. But and men are that's just what they do. But he said, but from this point forward, she said, well, are you still gonna look? He was like, basically, probably, but I can, I can look where I don't have to affect you. Basically, you don't have to see me. So she was okay with that. So my point in saying all of that is, you tend to love your person, adore your person, even, but those things that your perception of what you feel that they may be doing could totally be contradictory of what's actually going on. So we have to be mindful of that, be courageous enough to see the true vision for what it truly is, be confident enough in yourself as well. This is about strategizing in who you truly are within yourself. What is your confidence level like? You know? Yeah, we 50 minutes in. Guess who's not going to go any further? Because across the board, I've touched on health, I've touched on love, period. That's the read. So I am going to claim, accept, and receive that you all got something from this message. Um, I'm hearing know thyself. Know thyself. None of this has to do with appearance at the end of the day. Just quickly, my daughter and I were having a conversation a couple of days ago, and she is her mother at the end of the day. We are, we're polar opposites on the astrological scale. I'm Taurus, she's Scorpio. So we are so different. But when she was attuned in to growing up as a child, she is so me. And I'm so thankful to that. That's what I was telling her. I was like, we just so different, but baby, you your mama. She was like, I know. So she was like, sometimes it get on my nerve, but it's what I learned. So I chose to keep it, and I'm not upset about it at the end of the day. Sometimes it agitates me, but I'm okay. So with that though, I'm saying she knows who she is just as I know who I am. When we both go through low seasons of who we are and how we are showing up in our exterior, it saddens us. And, it can be a bit depressing in some way. But even through that season, it's I know myself. I know who I am. All I gotta do is clean this up. And even in my sickest season, people still be upset. That's what she was saying. That was the point of what I'm sharing. She was saying, but why, Mom? Why are people like that? Um, you know, even the granddaughters have to go through this kind of stuff. So it's like, and we were both saying, even with my eldest granddaughter, she was like, yeah, but I know I'm mid. That's my eldest granddaughter. She was like, I'm mid. And, her mom was like, how dare you, girl, please. And then my eldest granddaughter, she found out some things about, like, at school, and she was like, oh, wow, I guess I'm not so mid. I guess I'm not so mid after all. So it's the perception of yourself. Like, everybody else sees who you are, but you don't see it because maybe one or two people, you may have heard them say some off-putting things about you, and those are the ones that you attract to yourself instead of all the grander expressions of who you are. So, what my daughter was saying, when she was asking why though, Mom? Why? And, I was telling her what I picked up on through the Most High a couple of years ago. He was saying, how dare you? You have audacity to be upset with yourself and your appearance, um, or saying, well, maybe I shouldn't look, maybe I do be doing too much when I dress a certain way, or because I like red lipstick, or, I like blonde hair, or just beat myself up about that. So he sent me to the celebrities and made me think, gave me the vision of them and how people dislike them after they become appealing and very attractive and charming. All of that is already in them. But the industry makes it more powerful, which makes it more off putting to those of us who are viewing them. They're here to be celebrated. So your beauty is what is to allow you to be celebrated. No matter what your mirror of yourself about beauty is, beauty is also in the eye of the beholder. That's first. That's not what I was getting ready to say. But it's internal. You have some very pretty women, beautiful women, gorgeous women, nasty on the inside. And we all know that. So ain't nothing attractive about them. They even stink. And that's the truth. Not even realizing that stink that's coming off of them, that pungence that's coming off of them, is because of how ugly and green that they are on the inside. Not having a green, beautiful heart light as a feather, but a green with envy energy. Know yourself. Know yourself. Don't allow your darker shadow energy memory to dictate to you who you are. Let go of the shadow. Lionel Richie. We are running with the night. Yeah, let go of that night, honey. All right. So yeah, thank you all for committing to the channel. Comment, share, like, subscribe. Check out the description box. Books is, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Love you all much. Be plentiful and abundant, you guys.